Doot, 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 doot. Look at this new Christmas present, guys.
Are you live?
Yeah, say hi.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? I just say buys.
Does it work?
Huh?
Working? Sweet.
Oh, you got 2 likes on it already.
It's properly exposed. Can we? That's gonna be really annoying. Oh, we can do a dance party. Get in frame, dude.
What is this?
Everyone wants to see the dance party.
What is this?
It's YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. That's gonna be annoying.
Can you see me?
Cancel. I can see you. Everyone can see you. Cancel. Alright. Well, that's gonna suck. Can I turn my brightness down is the question.
How's everyone doing today?
Comment how you're doing, because Hubert wants to know how you're doing.
You probably have never seen me on this.
Yes, they have. Not on the show,
Oh, yeah.
but they've seen you before.
Yeah.
This is your time, if you're joining live, to get your questions in, because Hubert is on the show today while we get finished setting up. We're not supposed to start for 3 minutes, but I wanted to include
Test
a
the
little.
waters.
Yeah, just make sure.
Test the waters.
That's pretty meta, huh? You can see us in the
Whoa.
frame. It's crazy, huh?
Thomas, what's up, man?
Follow the dude on Insta. Yes, you do.
You do?
That's dope. Oh my god, that's gonna be annoying. Let's turn the volume down. Okay. I was hoping this setup would be a little bit better with like the screen here, but we're just gonna have to read for people so that they can understand exactly what's happening.
What's up, Sebastian?
Yeah!
It's pretty good, man.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it's good.
You can see everything. Okay, let's get this.
Oh, I miss you too, Sebastian.
Aww. New audio. So maybe we should start with how your Bitcoin's doing.
What's my Bitcoin doing? It's not doing bad. It's not doing good.
When did you invest? What number again?
What number?
Come closer so the microphone.
Not a lot.
No, it was at what? 17? 15K.
Oh, so like 17K, yeah.
It's gonna go up, dude. At least that's what everybody says it's gonna do. The camera lens is working great. We're live streaming YouTube style with the new Moment Superfish. Not sponsored. They're just a dope Seattle company. They're like all over this place right now. But I'm excited to have you on, only because I respect your opinion on a lot of stuff.
Excited.
Do you have any direction you want to take this?
I
have a couple news stories picked out, and I just want to go over them, and then also get a second opinion.
Okay.
First one being, this lady in Britain says that she spiked her guest's food that was vegan, and she just stepped down.
Spiked it with...
She says, the brag was reportedly posted in a closed Facebook group where members started asking if she was being for real. She says that she, quote, spiked a vegan's food hours ago. And she got phone calls and death threats and 1-star TripAdvisor reviews saying that afterwards that no animal products were used in the customer's meal. But she says she, quote, hadn't fully realized the consequence of what it meant to say that she spiked a vegan's food, end quote.
Yeah, I think that's kind of messed up.
Do you have any predispositions towards vegans? How do you feel about vegans?
Hey man, who am I to judge, you know?
Have you tried it? Would you ever try being vegetarian?
I have tried being a vegetarian.
How long did that last?
60 days.
Really?
Yeah.
When was that?
This year? Last year.
That wasn't during the no eating sugar thing.
It was.
It was?
It was.
Oh yeah, no meat.
No meat, no... Yeah.
What would you feel if someone was like, oh yeah, there was chicken in that?
I mean, I'm not a super, like, diehard vegan, so I would go like it or whatever, but, yeah, I think it's kind of messed up that she did that.
We're pretty good about that.
Yeah.
At our stuff. If there's like a
Funny story. I used to work with this chef. He was really bad at that. He would like put stuff in it, put like meat products and.
We're gonna undisclose the restaurant.
Yeah.
For privacy reasons.
I mean, I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah,
everywhere.
of course. But going on Facebook and bragging about it is a completely other.
Yeah.
Especially if you're the owner, right? Like if you're a line cook and you have like you're just bragging to your homies, then it's maybe a little bit like whatever. But like to be a public facing person and say that. I'm sorry if you guys can't 100% read this all the text, but the restaurant was called Carlini. It was an Italian joint. Super unfortunate.
Hold on, what does it say? Sebastian, I'm sorry, but vegans are wired. No,
Isomalt and agar-agar. Well, agar-agar is a seaweed, and isomalt is like a modified sugar, right?
mm-hmm.
So rather than vegetarian and ecological, yeah, I feel like vegans, if they say that they're not doing it because of the mistreatment of the animal, it's one thing, and then there's another side of people I think that are vegan vegetarian because they don't want to like support all of the resources that go into producing meat. But then at the same time, they're totally fine with refined sugar and stuff like that takes.
You ever see Aziz Ansari?
Yeah.
Where
Like Master of None?
No.
Oh, like stand-up.
He's doing a stand-up. And he goes like, people in the audience, how many of you eat meat, right? And then everyone raised their hand. And then he's like, how many of you like don't want to be eating meat, right? And like everyone raises their hand, right? And then, oh no, how did it go? I forget. It's like everybody wants to be like vegetarian, ethical, but at the same time, vegetables suck.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I don't know. I feel like it is a trend, and there is something that goes along with just being able to say that you're a vegan, and that's part of the draw.
I don't know. I think there's like health reasons as well.
Oh, of course.
Like I have some family members that went straightly vegan.
Mm-hmm. I was listening to a podcast yesterday about this guy who studies the lives of people that are centenarians, people that live to be like 100.
Mm-hmm.
There's like all these people in like the Mediterranean and Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It's like mainly vegetables, not a lot of animal protein.
Yeah.
Complex carbs.
It's true.
I mean, if you
There's
eat
a lot
like
of
that.
food, there's a lot of food documentaries out that say stuff.
Switching it more to a little bit more of a millennial story. Did you hear about this?
Mm-hmm. I did.
I just heard about this.
I thought it was funny, like the name.
It's in Austin. There's a dating app called Dinder that will set you up with dinner and choose a restaurant for you. So it's super interesting. If you guys have played HQ Trivia lately, there's time slots, right? So there's one at 3 p.m. and one at 7 p.m., right? Like before you go to dinner, right? And what it'll do is it'll set up a 10-minute time window where you can swipe to pick people. And if you match, it'll give you a restaurant with 3 different restaurants between where 2 of you are located. So it's using all of these kind of like services, so between location and restaurant, like Yelp, and it's all for that day, and you'll just meet with that person, and they also give you conversation points to come up with afterwards. I know that both of us are not single, but this is actually like made for us.
Yeah.
Like dinner, instant dinner, where you don't have to be like, you want to go to a bar, you want to go to a concert. Like we want to go out to eat.
Yeah.
And it's not a movie, and at least you're gonna like talk to people because they give you like talking points.
Yeah. Let me.
Beverages today. Hubert's got H2O. And I got another case of this stuff.
H2O.
Again, not sponsored. Just
I haven't like. I'm trying to drink more water this year. You know,
as opposed to what?
As opposed to everything else.
Soda. You gave up soda last year too.
I gave up soda.
I don't know. What do you think? Would you use this? Would you give up all the other dating apps and use Dinder? No.
Probably not.
Why?
Because I mean.
Do you think do you think it attracts a different demographic of people?
I feel like this is I feel like a lot of like, you know, foodies would use this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I like going on dates that aren't always at restaurants.
Always about food. But I mean, it is, I would argue, the best, and not to bring up Aziz Ansari again, but that episode of Master of None where he meets all the different girls in restaurants,
Yeah, that's pretty
like
fun.
that leads to the best conversation. At least,
Yeah.
like, for me, like, the most boring first date would be going to a movie.
Yes, definitely.
And then he even says, quote, the founder, Zachary Kassler, says, quote, "We want our community to spend less time on the screen and more time face to face." Sebastian, yes, Hubert did get a girl. Do you also have to match two on the restaurant, or they suggest? So Sebastian asked, "Do they suggest a restaurant?" And they say, it says, quote, "Dinder speeds up the planning process by providing conversation topics and 3 restaurant options halfway between the users' locations." So I think that encourages you to talk a little bit more. And it says restaurants are curated via Yelp and through Eater, and Eater Austin says there are plans for curated date lists from local bloggers and publications and sponsorships. So apparently you can pay to get your restaurant featured on this app, which is probably one of the reasons that they're making money. But it's also no doubt a huge draw for food bloggers to, to be able to say that you're suggesting things on an app is pretty cool. At least I think so. Look at this, I'm getting advertised for cryptocurrency. What do you feel about this story? So this next story that we're going to talk about is all around, it's an update to an update to an update on the Mario Batali story. So I didn't even know that Nancy...
I didn't see this.
Yeah, so the story is Nancy Silverton and Lydia Bastianich are moving into leadership roles at Batali's restaurant group. So everybody knows what happened with Mario Batali. We talked about it on the show before. Do you have any thoughts on it? Opinions? Because I know you and I are both like the last people to ever like sexually mistreat anyone in the...
So I actually didn't really read into this.
Yeah.
What happened?
So Mario got hugely hit for like 7 or 8 women coming forward and saying that he sexually mistreated them, like verbally, physically. He was also part of this huge thing that happened at the Spotted Pig. They had like upstairs of their dining room was like considered like the rape room, where people would literally like go and yeah, it was not good. So Mario doesn't have, he's not on the Chew anymore, which is his show on ABC. He is...
Italy, do they cut that off with them?
That's what this is about. So it says, Batali and Bastianich Hospitality sent a letter to the staff announcing several major changes. Happened on December 22nd, so this is a while ago that this happened. They say that they can't be specific on it, but women will take on leadership roles in the company. We will be creating a new company whose structure and name will better reflect that of our restaurant's success, built on the contributions of many, not just 1 or 2. I don't know. Do you have thoughts? Do you, because it's crazy. It all happened so fast. It's like all of a sudden, like within a month.
Yeah, that was very fast.
It's huge news.
I mean, this isn't like anything new, you know? This happens all the time in restaurants.
But with all the news in Hollywood, it's finally coming forward, and it's finally like getting into the spotlight, and women are actually feeling more empowered to come forward.
Yeah, definitely.
It says, part of that job, Silverton and Lydia Bastianich will be responsible for putting an end to the quote-unquote boys club culture. I get it. The thing is, it sucks. It really sucks. Because there's guys like you and me who don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
And we get roped in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, there's a ton of also, like, my demographic on this channel is mostly males, too. I'd be curious to see what you guys think. You can let me know. Because, of course, there's going to be, like, because the thing that I'm frustrated with is that it's getting roped in to be men versus women, as opposed to, like, good people versus bad people.
Yeah.
And that's where it frustrates me, and where it gets, like, where there's a gray area, and it's not so black and white. Because now it's this thing where it's like all men are bad. It's just not true.
There have been, so when I was at this other restaurant, we used to be a all male team, and then when I left, I ended up finding out it was the whole
Oh yeah, that's right.
Everyone was
Female.
basically.
I don't know. We would get that all the time in the restaurant in Norway, where it was like we would say specifically, you could notice the difference when it was an all-male kitchen versus even just one woman in the kitchen was like a drastic change in the way that the entire kitchen, because you have to have that equality.
You can't say certain things. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And it's not just that, but it's like, because it's not that it was just like this pirate talking ship when it was just all males. It was just like a constant unrealistic expectation to like push and be tough and whatever. But, and it's not to say that there was any preferential treatment when a female was in the kitchen or anything, but I don't know. It was just interesting. And it's sad. It's sad.
It is.
Here's an interesting story, and I'd be interested to see what you have to say about this. Kwa, we talked about this story a couple weeks ago on the show, but Eric Anderson, the guy who was at Catbird Seat, he took over Kwa because Matt Kirkley is doing Boku's Store. Yeah. So they just released his new menu, and maybe we can go through it and talk about it a little bit. There's just some photos, but the real menu is here. Hubert, you gotta talk louder.
I do.
So it's $250 for this menu. Would you pay $250 for this menu? Let's go through it. First dish, citron marshmallow with oxalis red radish. I don't know, fresh. Super high acid. Citrus, oxalis, and radish. Gooey duck, caramelized duck cream, green onion, clam jelly. That's a dish you would do.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Dungeness crab, that's this dish here.
Whoa.
I mean, that's pretty like Nordic, I guess.
I mean,
With citrus leaves and black sesame.
I definitely see like the Matt Kirkley
influence.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also supposed to be a head nod to Daniel Patterson, is what it says. It says Riley Redfern is the pastry. Do you know who that is?
No.
Sturgeon with roasted chicken, caviar, bay leaf, tarragon. It's kind of old school.
No.
This tart here, black truffle. It's an interesting looking dish. Fermented pepper toffee. What's etrog? Is that cheese? It's probably cheese. Chocolate millefeuille with mint and coffee. That sounds gross.
That's because you don't like chocolate.
I don't like chocolate. I don't like chocolate and mint. That's totally true.
I think.
Would you pay $250 for this? But is it interesting enough? Is it like? You see, this is interesting. You go by courses.
Yeah. So
maybe we can talk about this for a little bit. Because when you ate at Kwa, you were disappointed.
I was. If anyone works at Kwa, I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
I was disappointed when I went.
That's my whole. So that's my whole shtick on this show. I don't want to talk about restaurants unless we've been there, or unless I've been there. Like, you can say whatever you want, but I don't like to talk about restaurants unless I've actually been there. And I also like to add the asterisk within the last 6 months, because you might have thought the Kwa menu was a ripoff when you were there. But this might be the best meal of your life for $250. And if you compare it to another place just down the street like Saison, which is going to charge you $450, this is half the price. If it's going to give you just as good of a meal and make you that much happier and provide you an experience, then I see no problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a combination of things. I think I vaguely remember, but it was $250. I felt like I got ripped off because I only got like 5 courses.
5 courses. And it was a bunch of snacks, right?
And they were like, one course was an oyster.
Of the 5?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, and that was the first course.
And
that was just...
Because another guy you ate with that's also a mutual friend of ours said something similar, where he didn't feel like it was of value, a valuable experience.
Exactly.
But they got 2 Michelin stars. Right? So, like, this is no doubt... Do you think they're going with 3 Michelin stars for this menu?
Yeah. I think restaurants like these, they're...
Always chasing.
They're always looking for that.
Yeah. But 1, 2, 3... How many courses was it? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Like
11? And you probably get some snacks also in addition at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it.
I think it's worth it. Too.
You think it? Yeah. Okay. Do you think it's 3 stars? We'd have to experience it for sure.
I have to see it.
I mean, this is pretty. So another thing that I'd like to acknowledge in this menu is the super common theme that I'm noticing in menus. I saw it in Chicago. I'm seeing it in this menu. Mm-hmm. Is like this weird pseudo fusion of weird ingredients plus Japanese stuff plus old school French. Mm-hmm. That's the menu, right? So like, so doing things like oxalis or like clam jelly or like like parsnip or like salsify or like doing almond is all very kind of Nordic, and then you go to like Japan with like seafood, green onion, rice, right? Like, and then this weird French thing as well, where it's like Armagnac prune and milfouille and caramelized duck cream.
It is definitely a trend.
Is it kind of? Do you get excited about it? I'm kind of like, I'm almost over it. But at the same time, when I write a menu, I know I kind of want to go that direction just because I know that is the pinnacle of food.
Yeah, I know we might get a lot of stick for saying this, but I feel like a lot of restaurants in California do the same food. Yeah,
I mean, because you could this menu to me has no identity, right? Like you could tell me that this is the menu from Quince, and I would be like, probably
you would believe it.
I would believe you.
Exactly.
Or I mean, I also look to some of the other restaurants and that's really hard to find an identity when you're trying to please people and you're trying to, and that's why I want to talk about it like this, because I don't want to talk about it like we're talking shit on everyone when we're just two dudes who don't have a restaurant, right?
Exactly.
And it's like these people who are executing at this very high level, and that, like, there's a humility to it, but at the same time, it's like there has to be some identity to it. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on this whole entire piece. It's an interesting menu. We'll have to see where it goes, but that's my current kind of like State of the Union opinion on what the food is right now.
We just got a text. Qua restaurant.
Stop talking shit. The Emulsion podcast sucks. Death threats. How do you feel about this? So the story is Massimo Bottura opened an all-day restaurant at the Gucci Garden. So this is to kind of this is something I wanted to cover to piggyback off of the story we covered the other day, where in New York on Fifth Avenue, Tiffany's opened a breakfast spot. So you could do Hola Alfonso. So what were you gonna say? I'm sorry that you guys are getting advertised by all these pop-ups on my browser. I need to get an ad blocker for my Chrome. Anyways, keep going.
Stop going to Banana Republic.
Yeah, I know. I bought this shirt. I just bought this shirt. Anyways.
I've always thought about this.
So tell me a little bit more about it, because I haven't even read the story. I want to get into it deep with you.
Well, basically it's just food when people go shopping.
Oh, yeah.
But
Alfonso, when you say their gear for servers is amazing, are you talking about here at Gucci Gardens or Qua? But keep going, Hubert.
Probably Gucci.
So, diversifying his portfolio, all-day museum restaurant, Gucci Osteria in the brand new Gucci Garden in Florence, Italy. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
That's
interesting.
Funny. That's funny.
50-seat restaurant will include Italian dishes like Parmigiano Reggiano tortellini and mushroom risotto. Also Peruvian-inspired tostadas and pork belly buns. 20 to 30 euros per item. That is crazy. It says, the restaurant is a reminder that Florence has always been a center of cultural exchange, particularly during the Renaissance. Interesting. Gucci CEO and Bottura are childhood friends. That totally makes sense.
Well, it's funny because you don't see, like, there's a lot of fashion brands out there that have hotels. And
the food has to be there.
Yeah. Well, there are. You know,
that's true.
Bulgari in Tokyo. I think they have a 3 Kickstarter.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the draw, dude. Like, so that's that, and the reason why I covered the Tiffany story is because brands will pay for this,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you're a $50 million a year brand, you can afford to pay $1 million a year for a restaurant, or at least invest in something that could provide returns. And especially if you have a brand like Massimo has, it totally makes sense because then it's just a win-win.
Yeah.
Gucci gives exposure, Massimo gives great food. I just thought it was really interesting.
I think it's like you said, it's good play by them because the clientele is
Mm-hmm. It's right in that
luxury.
Yep, luxury. 3 Michelin stars, Gucci. It's the same.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I mean, I'm gonna be interesting. Like I said it when we talked about the Tiffany story that it's gonna be interesting to see what other brands make this kind of play, at least in this style of
Gucci
partnering.
Osteria.
Gucci Osteria. That's the goal.
All right, how do we get that in the U.S.? How do we get it?
Oh, I know. Well, that's the thing. It is in the U.S. You could go be a line cook at Tiffany's, and make breakfast.
Get paid.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Get paid.
I think it's like $35. That is the interesting thing to me about all of these concepts is that we scoff at like pork belly buns for 30 euros. But these brands that are used to, well, that's number one. The other thing that I talked about in the Tiffany story is that when you have a brand like Tiffany that probably makes what, like 20% profit on their products, arguably more, right? They're selling the brand, right? They're not selling jewelry. They're selling the brand, right? And that's where the markup comes. So I mean, it could probably be 40% profit. Like we don't know. But then when they hear about food and they're like, pork belly buns, you're gonna make like 3% profit. They're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
No, and so then they mark it up, and then they market it in a very similar way to how their other products go, and that's why we see all of these brands that do restaurants, and they're quote unquote expensive to us, but you're comparing it to, I don't know, the pork belly bun shop down the street.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you can go get pork buns right now for like what, like $9 for like two pork buns for $9, and you're gonna pay $30, 30 euros at Gucci Osteria. I just think it's funny, and to see like companies that are actually like profit minded and business minded come in and do restaurant concepts because the prices don't match up to a normal restaurant. It's just not how it goes, because chefs aren't in it for the money. Sebastian says a Victoria's Secret Hooters mashup would be nice.
That would. You know what's funny? You know what's big in Seattle when I moved here is these bikini coffee.
Oh yeah, that is a real thing.
Yeah.
Which I also didn't, and maybe I did see it, and like when you're driving in Middle America and you like.
I just thought it was the weirdest thing.
So the story is the concept is it's like a hut, it's like a shed, it's like a shack, and there's an espresso machine in there and like a sink, and then some lady works in there in like a bikini or like very scantily clad clothes, and just you drive up with your car and get espresso and tip. It's weird. It's weird. Lease vodka with Victoria's Secret. Yeah, you got to talk to Sebastian about that, Alfonso. He can probably give you the hookup there. That's your guys' business, not mine. I did have a question come in though that was Hubert focused, and it was where do you want to be in 5 years?
Where do I want to be in 5 years?
And you don't have to give a solid, because I don't know. I don't know about me. I'd be curious to hear if you've thought about it.
I've definitely thought about it. I want something of my own, I think, in 5 years.
A business, or because we've also talked about like, you know, automated sources of income, and you know, like does it have to be a restaurant? Does it have to be a business? Can it just be like real estate or stock investments? Or
I honestly cannot give you a answer.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But you want something that is your own and has your name. Like, do you want to be the forward-facing thing of it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it takes a lot of money, which I don't have.
Takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of resources. Takes a lot of, dude.
So that's what I'm working towards.
Okay, it's good. It's a good answer. What have you noticed any other stories that you want to cover? That you want to talk about? I'm just scrolling through Eater right now.
I'm here just hanging out with you, dude.
Yeah, of course. What so we got a pop-up secured yesterday, which I'm super excited about. We need to write the menu about that.
Ha ha ha. Alfonso sounds
Ernesto is better. What's up?
Ernesto.
Oh, that's Ernesto. Why do you go by Alfonso? Oh my god. Ernesto, you gotta tell us it's you, dude.
Ernesto, that's you?
Lol. Okay. That's so funny.
That is so funny.
You gotta tell us how.
How's Copenhagen, man?
Yeah, he's at Sanchez. Did you see
I
that?
saw that.
That's
You're all over Instagram.
That's so dope. I love it. Let's see. We gotta write a menu.
Yeah, we do.
So
I'm thinking about doing like, French, Japanese, and like
Pacific Northwest local ingredients.
Yeah.
Some weird ones too, like fermented stuff.
Latin names.
You and your 6 middle names. Maybe we can talk about this one. So the idea that we're trying for this new pop-up, not just for strict revenue purposes, but for just streamlining so we can feed more people, is I want to try 2 seatings.
Yeah.
It's going to work, right?
I mean, I don't see why not.
We got to be set up at like 5.
We do it. Yeah, the seatings are fun, actually. I know at Luxus they did
2 seatings?
2 seatings,
Yeah.
when I was
Interesting.
hanging out there.
Yeah. Here's a good one. Food trends predicted to take over.
Okay.
Regional Mexican and Chinese. Asian island cuisine. Restaurants designed for delivery and takeout. 3,000% true. You don't need a dining room anymore. You don't. Like if you're if you're a restaurant
But people
that's
want that experience too,
Yes and no though. Because why do you need to have an experience? Like what experience does 1010U Ramen provide you?
Okay.
Nothing,
okay.
right?
I guess,
like
yeah.
0. They provide you like with a place to sit down.
I had different restaurant.
Yeah, totally. I see, and maybe you can, like the dumpling houses in like New York City Chinatown, where it's like there's like a counter where you can stand and eat your dumplings if you want, and the rest of the restaurant is automated through takeout stuff. That's gonna explode. Like
I mean,
dumplings
you already
are,
see that.
Yeah, of course. But with
There's
making it actually more accessible, where there's more delivery drivers, I can be in my office. I can be at my house.
I also think like, what kind of image does that create for a restaurant?
A hopefully profitable one, where you don't have to worry about square feet for a dining room. I mean,
no. Can you imagine like, I don't know, like, I guess I'm taking it to the extreme level, like a fine dining, where they do that.
Yeah, of course. But that experience is completely different. And this is something that I talked about like on episode like 6 of the show or something like that.
Like whenever I hear like, it's 2 for 1, do this.
Deals at restaurants are always a trap.
Yeah,
the food is never going to be good.
Yeah, that's true. And I always think of like chain restaurants when I hear that, and I don't know.
I mean, yeah, Ernesto says it. He says, "I see it here. Hija de Sanchez against Sanchez. It's a different crowd for sure. When you're that fast, easy, accessible food as opposed to the sit down experience, it's gotta be. Gut friendly menu items. I can see that being a big thing. I was reading a lot about.
Copenhagen, huh?
Let's go to Copenhagen. Ernesto, can we come stage with you in Copenhagen? Fine casual, labor issues, customized employee, colorful food. Totally. Did you see the binging with Babbage with like the rainbow grilled cheese?
I think I saw that. That was gross.
I mean, it's super gross. Vegan desserts, vegetable entrees. That's been around for a while. Nostalgic foods. That's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
Comeback. So I'm thinking
like
next, but like even more. Like I'm thinking with like brands, like Ring Pops. Like why can't Ring Pops come back, right? Or like Fun Dip.
Is Fun Dip?
Like any of those candies.
They don't make those anymore.
I don't know if they don't make them anymore. They still make Gushers.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, like, I don't know. I don't know what nostalgic food is. My parents didn't really cook growing up. Nostalgia for me is like McDonald's.
Nostalgic snacks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Cereal's hugely nostalgic for millions of people.
Fun fact, I haven't eaten cereal in like 2 years.
Do you still intake dairy? Are you still cool with dairy?
I don't drink.
I've almost cut out dairy from my diet.
I don't drink milk.
When I eat cereal, I use nut milk.
Oh yeah.
And that's just because, I don't know.
I mean, like the only dairy is like butter
Mm-hmm.
and cream, but
That's very I mean, that's when we do a pop-up. We buy hella butter and
very
cream.
limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farm to shaker. How do you feel about that? Like using local, organic ingredients in your drinks, like cocktails. I mean, you don't drink that much.
I mean, yeah, it definitely is a trend.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone, at least in America, is trying to create the next viral
Oh, of course.
thing.
Dude, so I was literally talking to someone the other day who was like, I'm on the board for this company that does pears.
Like,
and we want, like, pears to be the next avocado.
okay.
Like, we're literally trying to, like, slowly inject pear into people's, like, mindset
Yeah.
so that the pear will be the next avocado.
Mm-hmm.
I hate pears. Pears are vastly
I saw this
sucky compared to apples.
I saw this funny meme. It was if you follow this Instagram account called For the Chefs.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Oh,
one pear. It's like, I really enjoyed that slow poached pear.
Said no one ever.
Yeah.
It's so true, dude. Pears suck. Fuck pears. This episode is gonna be called Fuck Pears. House-made condiments. It's kind of old school. Sustainable seafood. Healthful kids meals. Ghee. Uncommon herbs. Specialized tea. We're talking about restaurant trends.
Oh, there
for
it is,
2018.
right there. Instagrammable.
Instagrammable foods. Nice. Affordable food. Dude, I feel like you could just say anything.
I was about
And
to
it can
say,
be like
I
a
was
trend.
I was literally about to say that.
So stupid.
Food you make from movies.
Chef-driven fast casual concepts. Grain bowls. This is not a trend, guys. Eater. Do better. Be better. No broth ramen. What the hell is that? There are way too many trends. I agree with you, Sebastian. This is literally just saying anything that made a headline last year is going to be a trend this year. Poke. Poke's going to die this year.
Okay, so in Seattle, I guess poke is a huge trend.
Huge.
In California, it's just like, whatever.
Well, I saw a post yesterday, and I think Pete Wells retweeted it, that said something along the lines of, like, some lady said, stop calling ceviche poke. Anything that's, like, cooked in acid is not the same thing. Is like, call it whatever you want. It's the same dish. And I was like, poke is not ceviche.
Yeah.
Because the fish isn't, like, cooked.
Yeah. There's no
It's like
acid.
mayo. There's, like spicy mayo on your tuna.
Yeah.
And that's poke.
Well, poke also,
It's Hawaiian, right?
yeah, it's wine. Yeah, I'm trying to go there.
I don't want to go to... I don't like poke. I'm sorry. I just don't like poke. Is cronut still a trend in the States?
I think it's died down.
Yeah.
It's definitely died down.
But there is no one better at creating actually tasty viral pastries than Dominique Hensel.
He
Because
does
you
that.
actually respect his skill,
Yeah.
right? Like, when we want to do a recipe for a pop-up, you will often ask, or you'll often say, let's do that thing from Dominique Hensel, right?
Well, not do the exact thing. But,
Of course, but...
Yeah.
I get it.
I'll look into his recipes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he has some fun.
Have you been to any of his international locations?
Bro, no. I haven't traveled there.
Where do you want to go this year?
Where I want to go this year? I want to go to Benelong. Benelong in Sydney.
Really?
I think their food looks really
Oh,
good.
to eat.
Yeah.
Spell that for me.
Ben
Benelong.
Benelong.
In the opera house. It's in the opera house.
in the opera
Holy. Okay.
Let's
look at their
it's
menu.
It's a Peter Gilmore restaurant.
Okay. You like Peter Gilmore. That's pretty old school. Salad of confit tomatoes with stracciatella, smoked almonds, amaranth, sherry, caramel. And
Yo, I am a sucker for like old school stuff.
Yeah, you like old school stuff, which is good. I respect old school stuff a lot.
Yeah.
I just, again, I'm kind of like in that weird place where it's like there's a lot of French, a lot of Japanese.
Oh, can they even see it?
Kind of. I wish I could adjust the exposure, but it won't let me.
Look at it, it's so beautiful.
Well, can we bring it up?
Yeah, let's do it. Here,
What's up, guys?
you hold it. Let's go do some full screen action. His food is really beautiful. The food at Peter Gilmore's places is... Whoever he does for his food photography kills it. That looks dope. That looks like a Hubert Tsai dish.
What?
Ooh,
Oh, right there. That one.
Sydney Opera House one?
That's like the iconic dessert
Yeah.
they have.
This is a really horrible UX.
Where's the...
I think it's because it's trying to scroll at the same time. Here, let's see if I can just find it.
Oh, right there.
This one. That's dope.
I think that's really creative right there.
Yeah, that's dope. Interesting.
Yo, low-key, I'm trying to do one for Seattle.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Space Needle?
Something like that.
Do it. That's awesome. Yeah, you should. You absolutely should. That would be super fun if we can do a Space Needle something. Or it doesn't even have to be a Space Needle one. There's lots of bridges and
Yeah, but
like a Mount Rainier one would be
but
cool.
you gotta do like
The icon.
Yeah,
you know.
the Space Needle. I don't know how that works. How does that work? It's easy because the Sydney Opera House is like
that's what I'm telling you, I'm working.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's talk it through. Let's create a dish on the podcast.
Create a dish on the podcast.
So when you think Space Needle,
I think of like rings.
uh-huh.
Right. So I don't know. You'd have to do something that suspends the rings.
Mm-hmm. So then you call Martin Kastner and ask him to make you a base. Well, because that's the thing, right? Is that like it's easy to do something like that. You could. So what if you did like what they do, where it's like a meringue dome, and you do like the thin meringue kind of like twirls and stick them in, so it's going up, and then you do something
but
on
like,
it.
I mean, I could, but
Because the architecture of the Space Needle makes sense when it's like metal, but like food is not the same. And if it arrives to the table and it falls,
Yeah, of
done,
course.
game over,
Yeah, of course.
game over.
um,
What if you did something inspired by just the top of the Space Needle?
well, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, just the top. I wouldn't really know what to use yet. But
Mhm.
I'm working.
Oh, like food wise.
Yeah, I'm working on it, guys.
I wonder what the flavors are in that.
It's a pavlova basically.
Got it. So it's like meringue and.
Meringue, cream.
Hmm.
Um,
Let's see if it actually says.
no, it is.
Oh.
I researched.
Yeah, okay. Australian cheese. Why doesn't it say? That's fine. Interesting.
Supper.
Supper.
On the top. There it is.
Pavlova, yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
See, so that to me, which is one of the reasons why I talked about the identity piece, right? Like, I can clearly tell
That's a better
that
one.
is a
Exactly.
Benelong dish, and that's something that I'm much more focusing on in 2018 with the food, more so than flexing on people, because
Yeah.
we did a lot of that last year.
Aren't we all trying to?
Yeah, of course, find your own voice and whatever.
Exactly.
That's why I push you to do Chinese food or Taiwanese food,
Yeah.
even though it's not like your favorite. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I like eating it.
Well, because you have a passion for old school technique too, so it's hard to like say no to that when that's like something that's interesting to you.
Yeah.
What else? Anybody have any questions? Anybody watching have any questions for Hubert? Want to know? Anything you've always wanted to ask him? I would be upset if we got to episode 50 on this show and you weren't on the show. Peter Gilmore. I cooked for that guy at the French Laundry.
Here you go, Mom.
Yeah. Came in the kitchen.
That's cool.
It's really interesting. That's so funny that it says executive chef of Benelong and its sister restaurant Key. That's so funny. He's killing the game. He's got it on lockdown.
He's got some real, like, prime real estate.
Here's an interesting one. Least Verkit pizza place. Sebastian asks, do you enjoy the pastry part of the pop-ups?
Yes, I do actually. I've always been interested in pastry, and doing pop-ups kind of gives me the freedom to just experiment.
Well, because you don't have to take a full-time pastry job somewhere.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely made me read more.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely read through a lot of cookbooks, baking, pastry, and it's just a lot of experimentation.
And I rely on it, because it's
Yeah.
like, I don't have it. I mean, I have like very minimal pastry training. I have maybe like, if you added it all up, it's probably like 8 months of pastry work in like 8 years of cooking.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate. Okay. So, Lisvaka, the restaurant that Hubert and I both worked at in Norway, is opening a pizza place. And they're hiring, for anybody that's interested in gram.com/Lisverkit. For anyone that's interested in working in Norway, at the place where Hubert and I worked, it's called Holgorm. Yeah, Hubert's going to show it. Info@lisvaka.no if you guys are interested. So funny. But yeah, I'm excited to see that happen. That was in the works a year ago when I left. They were looking at the space for that. And it is a year later, and they're just now hiring for it, which I think is awesome. And a super huge congratulations. Were you there when Chris was testing pizza out?
I was not.
He cranked the oven to like 350
Like
Celsius. Leave it for 20 minutes with a tray inside.
Whoa.
Make the pizza. Come by, drop the pizza on the hot ass tray, and just throw it in the oven and close it, and hope that the smoke alarm didn't go off. It was crazy. It was awesome.
Where is the place?
Do you know where Grieg Holland was? And there's that strip that's like
Of the coast?
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's like 2 blocks away from where Global Food was. There's like a car dealership. There's like a strip where there's like just a bunch of shady buildings. At least when I was there, the talk was
Like in
that
the
that's where the
restaurant?
space was going to be.
So it's like literally walking distance.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, like within 2 blocks.
That's cool.
But it's going to be a wine bar and pizza place, and Chris is super excited about it. They're obviously hiring. Did you like Norway?
I love Norway. I want to go back.
Yeah, we might go visit in December.
Yeah.
It's in the talks. It's in the I don't know. It's in the air. Phil
We have
Collins
a
style.
friend coming in August too.
Oh yeah, that's right. We have a Norwegian friend coming to visit.
Super.
So we'll
excited.
stay with her.
Yeah.
For like a month. Just saying. We're all tilted now. Any other questions for Hubert? I'm gonna wrap up the show a little bit.
Sorry guys, my first time on here.
No, don't apologize. This is a fun episode.
It is.
That's the place. Okay, good. Good to know. Confirmation from Sebastian Baker at Lisvaka. This was fun. I'm glad we got to do this.
Yeah, it's fun.
I equate this to if anybody watches Tim Ferriss's podcast, I equate this to the random show that him and Kevin Rose do.
Just talk about.
Just talk about whatever. They talk about like new tech that they're interested in. They talk about they're like Silicon Valley startup dudes. We're just 2 cooks. Is there a dish you've been wanting to try that you want to do at the end of February for the pop-up?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Space Needle.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. It's a good idea. I think teriyaki was a good identity dish. Not necessarily for Seattle, but just like us being new and kind of like experimenting.
Yeah, I think
Talking
I
about
think
like,
there's definitely we could improve it,
of course, you can always improve it.
improve everything.
The thing that stuck out the most with me was Oba's feedback about the rice.
But
Because a lot of the times when I go out to eat teriyaki, I really just want rice.
yeah,
I just want rice with sauce on it.
You just want rice drowned in sauce.
I just want rice
exactly.
with sauce on it. And so when we did the first iteration of it, it sucked that we didn't do any rice with it. So there has to be. But how we do it can change, right? Like it can be a sidecar of rice,
Yeah.
or like, it's like a sharing portion of rice for people.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think we could definitely change it up a bit.
I don't think we have to do it at every pop-up. But the problem is when you get known for a dish, you have to do it
gotta
at everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, in restaurants they come out with cookbooks and like they feature their iconic dish.
Yeah.
And then you go, and they don't serve it to you.
Yep. And then
That's when disappointment happens.
Yep. I mean, because like for me, when I went to Alinea, I was super stoked to get all these dishes that I read about, and a lot of them didn't come, and a lot of them weren't on the menu that they gave us. And then they sent out the black truffle explosion, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Like, I was so excited to receive that dish because it was just...
That's good.
I read about it forever, and you like know so much about this dish and the story, and then it's fascinating. Anything to add, Hubert? Do you have a question for anybody here?
Congrats on 1K.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks, dude.
I saw that. He's got 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, I do. And you're one of them if you're probably seeing this, which is probably good. I love you guys. What do you want to know? What do you want to know from the culinary school students, the line cooks, the sous chefs, what are you curious about? What do you want to ask them?
Oh, me?
You? Yeah.
What do I want to ask them? How did you find Justin?
I asked that in my last video.
You did?
Yeah, I asked that at the end of my last video. Which video did you find me on? You gotta ask something else. Something you're curious about. Like stuff that they're excited about, or kind of restaurant they want, or...
So, when we were in culinary school, we always looked up to, like, Spanish cuisine, like Ferran Adria.
Or Mugaritz.
Mugaritz,
Arzak.
yeah, all those. For the culinary students, who do you guys, like, who are your idols right now?
Yeah. Name some names. Who do you guys look up to? And, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, it can even be line cooks, right? Like, even when I was a line cook, I still, like, idolized certain people.
Yeah.
Spain, for sure.
I feel like, I don't know, as Americans, we, like, there's always a push to go train in Europe.
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's different. Do you agree that it's different?
It is definitely different. And
it's, like, much smaller teams, much scrappier, much more, like, kind of bare bones and...
Exactly.
Technique focused and like different product, and it was an invaluable experience. I loved my experience in Europe. But I don't know. Do you feel like it's lost a little bit? Like people don't want to go to Europe anymore? Because the world has gotten so global. Like before, it was cool to have been an American chef that trained in France, and then you come back and do French food or whatever.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, it's gotten to the point where, like, everyone says that now. So.
And I would argue that because everybody is so free to travel now, and because everybody knows what everybody else is cooking, you're not cool if you're...
Through the internet.
Well, yeah, because you're not cool if you're serving chocolate milfoy in California now.
Yeah.
Because some dude in Austin, Texas is doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Gotta differentiate. Gotta have an identity. Closing thoughts?
I don't know. I think just finding the right restaurant and definitely grow there.
Okay, I ended the podcast recording. If anybody has any other questions, can answer them here. Otherwise, gonna close it out. Don't think there's any comments we didn't get to. I'm sorry that this didn't work. I wanted this to work. I wanted there to be able to be, you guys can see us. Overexposure problems. Hopefully the audio in this one was a little bit better than the last interview that I filmed. I filmed it in Bella's cottage and it was just like echoey as fuck, which is a little unfortunate.
Yo, so next time, you got a guess? I think this should be angled a bit.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Because I'm always like this.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then you can actually see their face.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I
Okay.
think that's good.
Why is this in travel and events? It's a silly thing. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end the live stream here. Thank you so much for watching. Follow Hubert. He's linked down below in the description for you guys. That's it. Stay tuned. We have an event February 26th. We're doing a pop-up. Tickets are going to be on mixprojects.com. That's it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Sweet. How do I end this?